I can't tell you how many times I have been addicted to food. All my life. I would say, with exception to and from birth, I think it was about maybe, let's say around like maybe 7 or 8 years old is when I gained this addiction towards food. And you can even, it goes all the way up until present time. Like, not present right now, but recently, within a couple months ago. And there's been many times where I have broken this spell. I want to say it, broken this addiction. And I say spell because a lot of us who are really addicted, you're going to hear that word a lot. I'm going to say addicted a lot to food, not even in the back of our mind, but in the front of our mind, we're like, okay, when is this going to stop? Okay, I'm eating a lot. Okay, my eating's out of control. And yet we let ourselves be consumed by our consumption of food. And I just wanted to just kind of address that, because there's a lot of things in this realm that are traps, right? And I'm not going to go down the list of the many traps, or you know what? Let's clean that up. There's a lot of things in this realm that are, I was saying traps, but that are challenges, right? And within each challenge, there is a reward. And we're not talking about the physical rewards, although there are those, but we're talking about the non-physical rewards, the spiritual rewards, your connection to your true self. But there have been so many times where I have tried to rely on food. And I think what really struck a chord is I'm driving by and I think about maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, there was this Japanese food / sushi restaurant that I always went to. And although this has happened many times, this really brought the memory back, where I remember I would be ordering 3 or 4 rolls. Sometimes I'd order even 3 rolls and like a teriyaki chicken plate. And sometimes it would be before I'm eating the food. Sometimes it would be during I'm eating the food, and especially after I eat the food. I'm saying to myself, this ain't gonna do it. This ain't gonna fill the void. This isn't gonna give me the pleasure that, like, eating it for the first time in a long time, or having a nice meal with some family, some friends, a significant other. This isn't gonna stimulate me in the way I'm looking to be stimulated. I didn't say it, that last part, I didn't say it quite like that, but that's the energy, that was the frequency that I felt, and the thoughts that were shared to me as I'm eating this food. I'm eating it, right? Any other time, the food's gonna taste delicious. But since I've burnt out that avenue, since, I guess you could say in a way, I'm so sensitive to my true being, I realize as I order it, I realize as I'm eating it, like, this ain't gonna do it for me, man. But I still do it because, again, this physical construct can have such a grasp on you to where you can easily override it. Because, again, I don't want to get too deep into this, because we're not, there's no need to give power to this direction, but there's a lot of stuff in these foods that are mankind manufactured, where it manipulates our chemical system, right? Telling us, that's good, more, right? When you think about candies, when you think about breads, when you think about all of these, again, mankind made foods, I forget exactly what the hormone is, but it doesn't release a hormone within the body called ghrelin or something along those lines. I'm going to butcher this, but basically this hormone, when released in your body, is a notifier to your system, like, okay, hey, we're full. We're satisfied. We're done. When you're eating processed foods, sugars, when you're eating anything processed, that hormone is not released because it's not, the food does not contain it. So that's why I say, even though I was able to feel and see as I'm ordering and eating this food, whatever it be, Mickey D's, T-Bell, right? I mean, we can go down the list. Sushi, spending 60, 70, 80, sometimes even $100 on sushi because it's the weekend. But none of these foods are really fulfilling not only my actual vessel, but my spiritual vessel. So again, I've broken this curse like I have already, but I've broken this curse, I've broken this spell many, many times. And today I have a possible key for you to where you're going to be able to not only break this spell, but almost make it seem like it was a whole nother life that you did this. Almost to make it seem like you look at yourself in reflection in the past, like, wow, I can't believe I was caught up in that, right? And the number one key for me that enabled me, that allowed me to break this spell of, what's the 7 deadly sins? What's the 7 deadly sins? Of eating. What is the 7 deadly sins? It's gonna come to me in a second. But the number one key that allowed me to break this spell of eating for satisfaction was to actually seek out what I truly wanted to do and what I truly am here to do in life. When I am running, which again, that's another construct. So it's really important that you don't identify with a lot of, if not all of these physical activities and things. But when I run, it allows me to align even more outside of running, right? It allows me to even align more with becoming my greatest version of myself. So in hindsight, eating for satisfaction doesn't allow for my running journey. And really, there's so many benefits to running, just outside in nature, you're outside in the sun, you're working your body, you're releasing those good toxins, those good endorphins, the serotonin, a lot of good things, right? It really helps, and it's really good for emotional stress and all this different stuff and blockages, right? That's why, you never want to work out, or sometimes you don't want to work out and you go and you work out, you're like, man, I feel so good, even though I'm so glad I forced myself, even though, right? Because again, that momentum was going the other way. But when I'm running, right, I detach, like, oh man, sometimes it may take a couple days, if not a couple weeks. But slowly and surely, I lean more and more into, you know what, let me eat fruits and vegetables. Right? Let me have a little bit more protein. And that's protein, that's another. But let me eat these foods that I know are going to propel me forward versus are going to weigh me down. And it's only a matter of time until now you have pivoted fully into eating for alignment versus eating for pleasure. Right? When I go and sometimes, and this gets a little deep, when I go and I'm out in the world, right, and I get dressed and I see myself, you can see yourself for who you truly are, right? And when you see, not to say that, having a lean physique or having, a muscular body or anything is everyone's path, because I know it's not. But for me, right, in my journey in life, when I see a little bit of roundness, when I see a little muffiny going on in the midsection, when I see my legs bursting out of my pants, right, and everything is skin tight, the indicators go off. Okay, hey, come on, we got to get back. We got to get back, right? So that's another reason why, because again, I'm seeking that alignment. I'm seeking that true self. So that's another reason why I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me clean it up. And again, when I talk about running, that just adds on to, okay, clothing, right? And then another thing is fitness, is exercise, right? Aside from running, aerobic, I'm talking about more so strengthening your body, right? Using your muscles. When I do that, that gives me yet another reason to actually fall in alignment in regards to nutrition, right? And again, guys, I know this by experience. I've been through this loop so many times. It is only a matter of that time until you finally go, okay, it's not even you thinking logically or left brainly to like, oh, I need to eat that because it's going to give me this, and I can't eat that because it's almost right brain now. It's an emotion, it's a feeling like, okay, I know where I'm at. Let me get this green smoothie. Oh, I need to get apple cider vinegar. Leave it in the leave it in the comments below. I cannot forget the apple cider vinegar. I'm about to go grab another book. It is now so blatant. It is now so apparent to me on beyond a logical level, like, oh, no. That's too much of that. That's too much of that. All these ingredients in here, all of these things that I'm letting into my body that are controlling me and that are making me want to eat more of it. Oh, no, let's slide it up. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get some mangoes. I'm going to get some watermelon, and I'm going to get some oranges. I'm going to juice them, and we're going to have some juice this weekend. That's what we're going to celebrate with, right? And these 3 things, right, just really leaning into your journey, you won't have any time for distracting yourself anymore. And again, food is one of the biggest things that everyone in this world distracts themselves with because it's so easy and we need to eat. But I'll never forget, I was at the gym about 6 months ago, which, man, I don't go to public gyms anymore at all, man. You know, once you're really on this path, man, it's not like you're afraid to talk to these different people, or you know what I'm saying? It's just more so like, let me just create my own environment. I really don't need to go into, because it's chaotic and all the wordplay and stuff. Trust me, it's no problem, but you rather, stay on your path. That's another video. But I remember I was at the gym and I was talking to a gentleman. I call him the OG because, he's a bodybuilder. I've known him since I was like 13, so almost 30 years or 20 years. And, 30. And, I'll never forget, he had an issue with doing something. And, I was able to kind of see him eye to eye and relate to him. I was like, okay, hey, I know exactly. And I remember I shared with him a couple times this. When I really lean into my journey, when I lean into my soul and what it's guiding me to do, right? Which at that time it was powerlifting, which again, I still lift. I just don't identify with it. It's just not a make or break thing for me anymore, But when I really lean into my journey, it is so much easier for me not only to be distracted, for me not to be distracted by these things like food, right? Alcohol, sex, marijuana, but it's not even, again, I go back, it's not even a thought anymore. It's almost like you go to the gas station, right? And say you're on a road trip, and on this road trip, you're almost out of gas, right? You kind of just started, but you're almost out of gas. You got enough gas to turn around, right? And go back the way you came from. But in order to keep going, you need to get more gas. You need to get the right materials that are correct for you. But instead, you spend most of your money inside on BS, on candy and all this different stuff. Then you have to now go back because instead of using your energy, your currency, your money to get you going to your journey, to get you going to where your soul, which is still connected to you, but where your soul is leading you, where it's at, instead you got sidetracked and you spent it on stuff that is a part of the matrix, right? Is trying to lure you in, just like a fish on a hook, right? So instead of doing that, you're like, oh no, duh, I need to get gas. Duh. I already brought water, I already brought electrolytes, I brought some fruit. You know, I even made myself an Ezekiel bread sandwich or whatever, right? I made some stuff and I was prepared for this journey versus being out on the journey and being consumed from your environment, right? It's a no-brainer. You're going to get the gas because you want to get to destination B, right? Because that's where your heart, that's where, right? That's where you're being led. So when I noticed that glitch, when you really lean into your journey and who you truly are, it is so easy to break the spell. What is that 7 deadly sin? Leave it in the comments below if you know the 7 deadly sin that I'm talking about. It's like, oh, gluttony. It is so easy to break that spell of gluttony. Because now, instead of trying to survive, now you're thriving, right? Thrive, survive. It's pretty much the same thing, right? But at the same time, total opposite. It's like looking in the mirror. Instead of you trying to make it through and just get by with all of these things that have been designed to just get you by and to hook you on, now you're hooked on your ascension. You're hooked on your expansion. And mind you, you're expanding when you're eating. So in one way, I said this before in a video a couple of years ago, if you are not fulfilling who you truly are, then you're going to find another way. And they have made other ways in this realm. Go to a grocery store, right? Just drive through your city. They have made ways for you to expand in a way that you ain't trying to expand. Because your soul is going to find it. And it's up to you to consciously guide yourself where you need to be versus letting these screens, versus letting this outside arena guide you. Moral compass, integrity. You got to go from within. Because again, it's so easy to be consumed by this outside world. So just to wrap this up, when you are not on your path, when you are not living life how you came to live it, somebody is going to be living it for you. All of these different companies making these different foods that are not for our well-being, you are living their dream. Because somewhere down the line, you've taken yourself out of your game and you've convinced yourself that your game is too hard. So now you're living their game. I don't want to say that breaking the spell is easy, but it is so simple. It is so simple. You just have to surrender to yourself. And before you know it, you will be a whole nother person. This isn't a high school diploma. You don't do it once and it's done. Like I told you, I've been in this cycle just as much as laundry you've done in the last year, right? But when you wake up every day and you propel yourself and you pivot, you fixate yourself on what you truly want and desire from the inside out, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And even if you do have a day of you slipping up or you do a little too much, you'll recognize that. Because again, your momentum's going into you. Your momentum's going into the direction where you have been wired to. Your momentum is going that way. So when you do something that is out of your alignment, that is out of your true nature, you're going to feel it. And the more and more you go back and forth, the more and more you feel it. And it's painful when you are not listening to your true self. It is painful. So again, lean into your desires, lean into your true path, lean into your ambitions, lean into your soul, lean into God. And it will be as simple as moving forward for you to let go of the gluttony, for you to let go of eating yourself into a food coma, even though you know that's not fulfilling the void. It'll be as simple as you just literally getting up, going outside for a walk. All you got to do is move forward and keep your mind focused. And before you know it, you're going to be a whole new person. I guarantee. I know it. I've done it many times. So that's going to be the message for today. Okay. Again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days to listen to the messages. I really appreciate you guys for engaging in the videos. We're all in this together. I say this a lot whenever I'm commenting back. I always comment back to every comment. We are all in this together because I am you and you am I. Right? We are all in this together. So, again, it's Monday. I'm just give me 21 seconds. It's Monday. Beautiful day to start the week, right? Whole new set of 7 days, okay? Start listening to yourself. Start listening to your gut. And don't worry about any other thing. Don't worry about any outside distraction. Lean into you because you got what it takes to do what you need to do. Love and light to all.